And good afternoon, everybody, and welcome here to Watkins Glen as we get ready for some road course racing here in Season 8 of the NNSCRA Snickers Cup Series. This is race number 19, which is our next to last points-paying race before we lock up ourselves a 16-car chase and battle it out for the championship in a 10-race shootout. Coming into today's race, some drivers have already established themselves spots in this season's chase for the championship, but a number of them still have question marks above their names as far as whether or not they will be still in the chase hunt next week at Arizona. Today we get ready for an exciting event, and we're going to be spotlighting a couple of people today that are not running well in the point standings, but this is for a very important reason. Coming into today's race, 16 of the 16 spots in points are filled with race winners. We have had James Qualls be the most recent one, winning last week at Kansas. Now, the thing is now, with 2 races left, we have the opportunity here of having a race winner still not make the chase for the championship. James Qualls, despite his win last week, he is still the lowest running of race winners in points in 37th position. Next highest are 31st and 32nd place drivers Levi McIntyre and Michael Norman. Now, what's got to happen here for James Qualls is he needs to have, in these next 2 weeks, a driver who's already been to victory lane this season go to victory lane here at the Glen and go to victory lane next week at Arizona. The odds not necessarily in the favor of that, but that's the only way right now that James Qualls can definitely secure himself a spot in the chase for the championship. That 70 team is going to be on pins and needles for the next 2 weeks. He does have a bit of a glimmer of hope, at least up here at the front, because the front row of today's race is comprised of 2 drivers who have already been to victory lane and 2 drivers that actually already right now mathematically are confirmed they will be in this season's chase for the championship. As a matter of fact, pole and outside the front row happen to be the 1 and the 2 car. Irony there. Trent Dunham starts on the pole position. Been a while since we've actually seen Trent start up on the pole position in a race. Trent Dunham, a 2-time winner this season, already locked into the chase for the championship, 5th in overall points, looking for his 3rd win of the season. Alongside of him, a driver who just recently went to victory lane at a road course. That was at Champs-Élysées, and Dylan Young was the one who took the checkers there, and he'll start on the outside of the front row for today's race. Dylan Young, since that win at Champs-Élysées, has just all of a sudden seemed to explode out of nowhere with good finishes week after week. He's now up to 4th in the point standings. He is mathematically locked into the chase for the championship as well. But the drivers are basically keeping an eye on during the course of the day are going to be James Qualls, Levi McIntyre, and Michael Norman, because those are the 3 drivers that are way down in points. And if we do have a different race winner go to victory lane here today, one of those drivers could be eliminated from championship competition, depending on where they're running in the standings. And those 3 come in today separated by about 57 points. So James Qualls is not going to really be able to make up ground to be able to pass either of them in the points, but he can at least try and make up ground to get close and maybe bypass them next week. Remember, this all depends, though, on whether we have a different race winner go to victory lane for the first time here in Season 8. But time to get these cars rolling off, and as they do, we are going to show you your starting lineup for today's Cheez-It 355 at the Glen, and also going to give you an overview of the drivers that are right now locked into the points chase for the championship, and who is still, well, they still need to get themselves mathematically into the chase, even though they do have a win this season. Right now, the drivers that we have definitely confirmed mathematically that are going to be in this season's chase are Sean Galligan, Dylan Young, Trent Dunham, Sean Henley, John Cittadino, Cole Daly, and Jessica Shelton. They are confirmed. Now, the drivers that we're not certain yet, but they're more than likely going to, especially if they get a good run here today, include Joshua Collard, Dylan Poteet, Makoto Iguchi, Joshua Michaels, and Jacob Lawler. If they can come away with good runs today, they will be locked into the chase, regardless of what happens next week at Arizona. And then, of course, as we mentioned, Nathan Hudson, Levi McIntyre, Michael Norman, and James Qualls. Those guys, they're kind of wavering, especially for Norman, Hudson, and McIntyre. They need really good runs here today at the Glen to make sure they don't have any problems next week at Arizona. And keep in mind, too, James Qualls comes in on pins and needles, but say we have a different race winner here today, and then we have another different race winner next week at Arizona that's running up, say, top 10 in points. That then puts a lot of pressure on possibly two different race winners from this season not making the chase for the championship. So there's a lot on the line here. And quite honestly, I was not really expecting we were going to have more than 16 different race winners this season before the chase began, and now the likelihood of that is very, very real. So we will see what's going to take place here as Trent Dunham gets ready to lead him down here to the green flag here at Watkins Glen. Always a fun road course to come to here. And we're going to see who's going to go to victory lane here. Joshua Michaels lines up in third, Charles Jackson in fourth. Green flag is out. We're underway here at Watkins Glen, and they come here into the most treacherous part of the racetrack, and already someone forcing it 4 wide. That was Makoto Iguchi. That doesn't look like that's a very good idea. That was 4 wide. They settled it out to 3 wide, and Makoto very wisely backs out of that. Remember, Makoto Iguchi is one of those drivers with a little bit of a question mark. Depending on how she runs here today, she would then make the chase, but she's got to at least finish well here. And wisely backing out of that situation, apparently realizing, hey, there's a lot more on the line here than making an aggressive move to try and win this race at the Glen. Got a battle going on up here. Jessica Shelton going to move up to the 4th position, bypassing the returning Zach Buchanan. Again, had a great return last week at Kansas. Driving that 3rd ride for RG BMW Motorsports, as right now the leader is Dylan Young. Charles Jackson was able to get around for 2nd, and Trent Dunham, the pole sitter, slipped back to 3rd. That outside line gets a nice run coming out of that first right-hander. As they're battling again, that is for the 5th position, Joshua Michaels, underneath of teammate Zach Buchanan. Michaels, a former winner this season, ended up winning back at Infineon. So he knows how to get it done at road courses, but now he's going to lose that 5th position to Zach, and now he'll run in the 6th position. Right behind him, Ashley LaPlante. Number of drivers come into today's race running really well in points, but they still don't have a win this season. Harrison Langford is 2nd in points, Charles Sanford 3rd, Ralph Mason, James McLeod, Anthony McCurry, and Ashley LaPlante, that's 8th through 11th in points, and they have not yet been to victory lane. So, you know, they've been having such stellar seasons, such consistent seasons, but it's that win that they need to get that's plaguing them, and kind of, you know, it's kind of killing their great season, because they know that even with all these consistent finishes, they're not going to be battling it out for the championship. So we got a good 3-way battle going on here for 2nd. Charles Jackson has it. Trent Dunham and Jessica Shelton are starting to run him down. That's all going on right now behind the yellow deuce of Dylan Young. And Trent takes a peek to maybe make a move here in turn 1. Not going to be able to quite make it. So Jackson holds on to that 2nd position. Charles Jackson, his season's kind of been like a mountain, or a valley actually. Started out really well, then all of a sudden he hit a streak of very poor finishes. Now he's been slowly trying to work his way back up. He's now 17th in points. And coming into this race, we had, I believe it was 5 former Snickers Cup Series champions in the field. 3 of them have been to victory lane already this season. Henley, John Cittadino, and Jacob Lawler. Charles Jackson, though, has not yet been to victory lane, and neither has Dougie Shears. Shears won the championship in Season 1, and Charles Jackson won the championship in Season 6. And the 2 of them have actually been having good runs in the past few weeks, have Jackson and Shears both. Shears has worked his way up to 16th in points in the past couple of weeks. Let's find out where James Qualls is running following up his win at Kansas last week, and I don't know if this is strategy or what. I don't think he qualified well, but James Qualls is way back here. As a matter of fact, there almost appears like there could be damage on the 70. There is some left side damage on the Ford Travel Chevy Camaro. It's in no way hindering his speed, apparently, because he still is hanging there with Kyle Matthews and Joshua Balkowitz and company, but I think it was basically the fact he was he started near the rear of the field. That's kind of caused this problem for him. He's got to hope maybe some pit stops are going to help come into play here for him. As we're going to try and find a couple of other drivers that we're spotlighting today. How about Michael Norman? 32nd in points. There he is. He's currently in the top 20 in the 19th position, just ahead of Charles Sanford. Michael Norman really needs a good run here, and right now he's getting it. Now let's find out where he would be in relation to Levi McIntyre and Nathan Hudson, who he comes in 4 and 6 points behind, respectively. Let's find first Levi McIntyre in the 60, our winner from Rockingham, UK. Right now he is not running better than Michael Norman, so Norman would right now at least move up past Levi McIntyre in the point standings. And now what about Nathan Hudson in the 84? Where is he at? He's even further back in 35th. So right now Michael Norman's sitting in a good situation. At the moment, he would bypass both Levi McIntyre and Nathan Hudson in points, so that would put him out of danger if we have two different race winners in the next 2 weeks. A couple of race winners back here actually just kind of riding at the back. There's Joshua Collard, our winner from Stunt Road, and there's Sean Henley, our winner from M&M's. Thought I saw another one of them further up here. Yeah, there he is, Jacob Lawler. I thought I saw the Great Clips Chevy Camaro. He's back at 31st right now. I think right now, for the most part, these drivers just not forcing the issue. We already know for certain that Sean Henley's going to be in the chase. Joshua Collard and Jacob Lawler need good runs to just kind of confirm that they're going to be in the chase, and I think that's what they're doing, is just riding around right now, biding their time. There's Cole Daly trying to make a move on Jake Rogers. That would be, I believe, for 28th. Not able to make the move. As a matter of fact, that brings Ralph Mason right to his back door. Ralph Mason, well-known, well-versed road course racer. 8th in the point stands, hasn't really fallen outside the top 10 in points all season long, and he's trying to make the chase for the championship. I believe Ralph Mason has not battled for the Snickers Cup Series championship since season 4, when he drove the number 70 machine for, at the time, I believe it was Haas Racing. So he would love to be able to win here, but right now it's looking like if he's going to have any chance of getting at the front, he's going to have to rely on some kind of pit strategy here, and the question is when these pit stops going to have to happen as well. Trent Dunham going to try to the inside of Charles Jackson for second. Now we've seen here, coming into turn 1, that outside line gets a good run. Can Trent actually make the pass here? Can he stick to the inside? And it doesn't look like he's going to be able to, as somebody just made a pit stop, and I think that was Collard. It was Joshua Collard making an unscheduled pit stop, perhaps? Maybe it was scheduled, I don't know. But he just was on the pit lane and comes out just barely on the tail end of the lead lap. Dylan Young not too far behind, and Collard could come into play here in a possible battle for the lead, but I'm trying to find out why Collard was on pit road. I do know he did have a little bit of damage on his machine, but it didn't look like it was hindering him in any way. I'm wondering if that was a legit green flag pit stop. Whatever the case, it's now kind of put a bit of a problematic situation to the 34. Now he's going to have to wait for these leaders to make green flag pit stops, and then maybe he'll be able to cycle back around, but the leaders are not coming in this time. Let's give you a look at the top 10 as far as who's running where. Dylan Young is the leader, Charles Jackson's second, Trent Dunham is in third, Jessica Shelton's in fourth, as we have a nice look at the pace car, which kind of annoys me. Zach Buchanan up here in the 5th position now, 6th Joshua Michaels, 7th Ashley LaPlante, 8th Danny Wells, 9th is Isaac Canepa, and Brandon Gonzalez is going to complete the top 10. As my phone is ringing, I'll look and at least see who it is. And I'm not even going to answer it. And you can see that apparently Dylan Young and company are catching that machine of Joshua Collard. I can't see lap machine because he is on the tail end of the lead lap right now. But Dylan Young, I'm telling you, this 2 car has really come alive. He ended up winning at Champs-Élysées. He had a great finish at Stunt Road. He had a great run last week at Kansas. And now he's looking like he's going to be en route to his second win of the season. Dylan Young has been a multiple-time winner in Snickers Cup Series before, but here's the thing. He has never been in the chase for the championship in Snickers Cup Series competition. And what a time for that 2-car to come alive here, knowing that he is locked into this season's chase for the championship. And to throw a little bit more kindling on the fire, I just saw a car that was on pit road, and you guessed it, it was James Qualls in the 70. So the nervousness is going to grow to absolute pandemonium now for that 70 team, because he has now fallen a lap down to the leaders. And I can only assume the reason he hit pit road was probably the reason Collard hit pit road, but no, we got Bob Jones on pit road, and I think we may have had also Harrison Langford and Anthony McCurry on the pit lane. I think we got pit stops going on, folks. See if any of the leaders come down here. Yeah, here comes Dylan Young. So I think McCurry, Langford, Bob Jones, maybe even Qualls all came in regularly scheduled stops. Came in a little bit earlier, though, than we were expecting. And now here comes Dylan Young giving up the lead. That turns the lead over to Trent Dunham, who did not come to pit road, but Jackson, Shelton, LaPlante, Wells, Cittadino, Poteet, and others all hitting the pit lane. So let's follow now the Cessna number 1 of Trent Dunham. He now inherits the lead. I believe Michaels moves into second. I think he got by his teammate, Zach Buchanan, moved Buchanan back to third. And this is going to be a big break right now for one Joshua Collard. He is on the tail end of the lead lap, but this is going to help get him back into sync with the rest of these drivers. And they're all pitting between laps 8 and 10. So the question now is, are they going to have to pit at the very end of this race, or are they going to be able to make it on fuel now? As Trent Dunham is going to come to pit road. I wasn't certain if he was coming or not. Took that turn a little wide. Michaels is in, so too is Buchanan, Canepa. And, oh, okay, interesting here. Langford and McCurry now making pit stops. Apparently something must have happened to cause these drivers to be way back, because I thought those two had already been in the pit road, but no, they're on pit lane this lap. Trent Dunham going to pull into his pit stall, and we're going to have to watch to see if Dylan Young's able to get by Trent Dunham, or can Trent Dunham's team get him a fast enough pit stop to get out for the lead. This, I believe, puts James Qualls back on the lead lap. So that's fortunate for that 70 car. And I think I hear Dylan Young coming. Is Trent going to get out ahead? Oh boy, he's coming off pit road, but I think Dylan Young's gotten around him, and he has. So the cycling of pit stops puts Dylan Young back out in front. And when Dylan Young hit the stripe, there are 11 laps to go. We are now past the halfway point in today's event, and we have yet to see a yellow flag. It has been clean and green this whole time. We have had a couple of drivers make what seem to be unscheduled stops, Joshua Collard and possibly James Qualls. They both, though, have cycled back now onto the lead lap due to the leaders just now making pit stops. Battle on for second. A long ways behind Dylan Young, the leader. Trent Dunham trying to get by Charles Jackson. Jackson, a nice run into that corner. Took the turn kind of wide, but got good momentum. And he'll keep second place. Now here's Jessica Shelton looking underneath of Trent. That's for third. And boy, I look at the calculators and everything here, and I'm just not certain. Is McCurry and Langford still sit on the pit lane? Did they encounter problems? They might have. Here's Collard coming off the pit lane. Now he's a lap down again, as he apparently had to make a pit stop. We are going to utilize, for the first time in a while this season, our NNSCRA split cam. We're going to be showing you some footage here of a couple of things. We're going to first find out what sent Joshua Collard to pit road the first time, also James Qualls, and then also see what happened between Anthony McCurry and Harrison Langford. That will all take place down on the bottom right-hand side of your screen. I am not able to see it, but you are at least going to be able to find out what happened. And while that happens, let's give you a full field rundown of where everybody is running right now. Dylan Young out in front with a commanding lead. Second place is Charles Jackson, Jessica Shelton in third. Fourth, Trent Dunham, and Ashley LaPlante runs in the fifth position. Sixth will be Joshua Michaels. Seventh, Zach Buchanan. Isaac Knepp is in eighth. There you see McCurry and Langford still on pit road. Ninth place is going to be Danny Wells, and Brandon Gonzalez completes the top 10. Then it's going to be Megan Atkins in 11th. 12th, John Cittadino. Dylan Poteet is in 13th. 14th, Kyle Corbett. 15th, Bob Jones. William Duncan is 16th. 17th is James Silverfox. 18th, Makoto Iguchi. Chris Washer runs in 19th, and Michael Norman completes top 20. Then it's Ian Dutta 21st. 22nd, Zachary Fitzwater. Tanner Sullivan's 23rd. 24th place, Jake Rogers. 25th is Ralph Mason. Sean Galligan, the points leader, all the way back in 26th. 27th, Charles Sanford. Cody Lamas runs 28th. 29th is Cole Daly. Jacob Lawler in 30th. 31st is going to be Levi McIntyre. 32nd, Noah Hart. Doki Shears is 33rd. 34th is Joshua Balkowitz. James McLeod 35th. 36th is Nathan Hudson. Kyle Matthews runs 37th. And 38th is Sean Henley. As Langford and McCurry finally complete their pit stops, James Qualls is again on the pit lane. So we have, I believe now, 4 drivers 1 lap down. Qualls is scored 1 lap down, but I think he's maybe going to drop maybe to 40th now. Joshua Collard also a lap down. He is currently scored in 40th. And Anthony McCurry and Harrison Langford, they're 41st, 42nd, 3 laps down to the leaders due to the incident you had apparently just seen. Right now, though, Dylan Young is the man in charge. He had a big enough lead as it was before the cycle of green flag pit stops. Now it has grown exponentially. And he's just got to basically hit his marks and hope that nothing goes wrong inside the car, because they are not even past the now lap machine of Joshua Collard as they continue to rage that battle for second between Jackson and Shelton right now. Trent Dunham trying to catch back up. Same for Ashley LaPlante. But Collard has already been to pit road twice in this race. All the leaders have only been once. Collard is off the lead lap now, but he is not necessarily holding up these leaders, because these leaders apparently do not seem to be able to get to the 34's back bumper. That could be the fresher rubber that Collard has. He came to pit road about 2 laps after these drivers did, so does have slightly fresher tires on his Mitsubishi Lancer. But you know, we thought Watkins Glen was going to answer a lot of questions for us. Well, it's not exactly doing such a good job. James Qualls has been on pit road a couple of times, and he's that driver that comes in pretty much with a target on his back for all other drivers that have not been to victory lane yet this season, due to the fact that he's running so low in points. They'd love to be able to take the opportunity, win today at the Glen, and eliminate him from chase competition. But right now, the best friend that James Qualls has right now is that 2 car. James Qualls, even if he doesn't finish well today, he needs a former winner to go to victory lane like Dylan Young. And if Dylan Young goes to victory lane, that's going to at least allow James Qualls and that team to breathe a sigh of relief at least for 1 week. Because that would mean there would be no different race winner, and we still would have 16 different race winners this season. As a matter of fact, right now the top 4, as they run right now, look okay for Qualls. The only driver he's got to worry about is that 54 of Charles Jackson. He has to hope that he doesn't try anything as far as strategy here in the closing laps. If he does, that could be a situation for Qualls, but Dylan Young, Trent Dunham, and Jessica Shelton have all been to victory lane, and all are basically confirmed in this season's chase. So right now, at least as that stands, James Qualls is in good shape. He needs one of them to go to victory lane here to keep his chase hopes alive. And I don't rightly see anybody challenging Dylan Young for this win unless pit stops come into play. It's also a tough break for Harrison Langford and Anthony McCrory. Second place in points for Langford. Highest running of non-winners this season. And McCrory is 10th in points. And the both of them looks like are not going to finish very well here today. So that's going to knock them down in the point standings right now. Even though the points get reformatted as far as the chase after next week's race at Arizona. Just to give you guys a little bit of a idea of what's coming up in future races here on NNSCRA Sports Channel. We have Last of Us Late Series putting together their last regular season race, even though there is no chase, but they will be having a 10-race shootout, of course, to end off their season as well, before we have a champion there. And next week we head to an endurance race for them. That's going to be at Le Mans, so that'll be an exciting race. I'll be joined in the commentator's booth by Anthony McCrory for that event. And then we have a Truck Series event as we continue on our Truck Series racing in Canada. Of course, the race at Montreal, an absolute yawn fest, full of cautions and hardly any racing. But we are going to be going to Canadian Tire Motorsports Park for our final Truck Series regular season race, and I think it'll be the first time that we've ever actually ended off a regular season and begun a chase via a road course. So that's going to be very interesting to see what happens there. And then the Mobil 1 Cup Series and Snickers Cup Series, keeping to the old tradition we've had for the last few seasons, where the last regular season race will be held at Arizona Speedway. And from there we will have our Mobil 1 Cup Series chase field. 10 drivers who are top 10 in points and 2 wildcard drivers. And then, of course, the new Snickers Cup Series format with 16 drivers, all race winners from this season. And James Qualls is certainly hoping he'll be one of them. Right now it's looking like, at least for now, he would be, because Dylan Young is leading the way. And Dylan Young trying to join the ranks of Trent Dunham and Sean Galligan as a 2-time winner, but he's hitting the pit lane. And here comes Charles Jackson as well. And now this changes everything as Shelton stays out, Dunham, Michaels, Buchanan, and Canepa. Now this is interesting. Jessica Shelton came down pit road with these drivers on the last cycle of green flag pit stops. Trent Dunham was the one who inherited the lead at the time, as he ended up being the first one to stay out. Now Shelton's rolling the dice, going an extra lap longer to be able to still hold the lead and maybe gain track position. Interesting strategy on the part of that 94 as Dylan Young's service is completed. He is down and away. So Shelton now moves to the lead. Dunham in second. I believe Michaels, Buchanan, and Canepa, that I believe is the top 5. But these drivers are going to have to hit pit lane at some point. Dylan Young and company hitting pit lane with 4 laps to go. And now it is 3 laps remaining in today's race at the Glen. It's going to come down to strategy here. Who's going to have the fastest stop on pit road? Is Shelton coming this time? Yes, she is. Is Trent coming this time? No, Trent's going to stretch it an extra lap further. So will Michaels, Buchanan, and Canepa. So it's going to be a lonely pit road for that 94 car, as Shelton's going to now hit the pit lane. And Trent Dunham's going to try and stretch it a little bit further. 2 more laps to go. Is Trent going to have to pit on the white flag lap? Or is Trent Dunham going to try and stretch it? I mean, think about it. Trent Dunham has nothing to lose. If he wins here, his 3rd race of the season, that's another 3 bonus points he'll get in the chase. Let's see if that one car is willing to risk it. Will he try going for the win and maybe run out of fuel in the attempt, or is he going to do the conservative thing and come to pit road? He's got Joshua Michaels right behind him. Michaels is within striking distance here. What's going through Michaels' mind? Michaels is basically locked into the chase for the championship right now. He'd love to be able to be a 2-time winner this season, both wins coming at road courses. Let's find out what's going to happen. Is the one coming to pit road with the white flag in the flagman's hand? No, he is not. Neither is Michaels, neither is Canepa, neither is Buchanan. They're going to risk it all. White flag is displayed for Trent Dunham. Can Trent pick up his 3rd win of the season for Sega Motorsports and become the only driver this season with 3 wins? Got to keep an eye on his speed up there on the top center of your screen. Make sure that it doesn't fluctuate too much, otherwise we could end up having the one car be out of fuel. Does he have enough fuel to get to the end? Michaels is there, about maybe 7 car lengths behind. Can he make it the rest of the way? Coming through the dog leg there. Trent Dunham looks like still is up to full power, up to full song. Michaels trying to close the distance, is now down to about 6 car lengths between himself and Trent Dunham, but not really close enough for him to be able to make a move here, coming into the hard left-hander, coming towards the final turn. Trent Dunham bailing out the throttle a little bit there into that corner, going to try and milk it here through the final corners as Michaels tries to close the gap up even more, but he's not going to be able to. Trent Dunham's just going to try and see if he can get a little bit of gas to get to the stripe, and he does! Trent Dunham is going to use fuel strategy to win here today, his 3rd race of the season. Trent Dunham takes the cheese at 3:55 at the Glen. So early on this season, it was a battle between 2-time winners Sean Galligan and Trent Dunham, and now Trent is the first of the two to pick up his 3rd win of the season, and that means he will have 9 bonus points, 3 points per win, in the chase for the championship. And right now, folks, you are looking, barring Sean Galligan maybe winning next week at Arizona, who knows, but right now, if that does not happen, you're looking at the driver that, via the revised chase format, when the points are all reset, Trent Dunham would be your points leader with 1,009 points, and he is now out of fuel. So Trent Dunham was a little bit more than a lap and a half to the good on fuel, and it looks like Zach Buchanan has also run out of fuel in the 42. So what a great job by Trent Dunham. Fuel conservation mode apparently there for those couple of runs there between green flag pit stops, and he is going to come away with the victory. What a great win for that driver, and a sigh of relief for James Qualls. A former race winner went to victory lane, so right now, as you see him bypassing Trent Dunham, James Qualls still is in the hunt for being in the chase for the championship. It'll all depend on what happens next week at Arizona. Let's take a look at our official top 10 from today's race. Trent Dunham with the win, Joshua Michaels in 2nd. That confirms him in the chase for the championship now. 3rd place, Isaac Canepa. Zach Buchanan going to finish in 4th. Good runs for the top 4 there. You got 2 drivers out of Sega Motorsports, and you got 2 drivers out of RGE BMW Motorsports. Dylan Pote came in with a bit of a question mark today. 5th place for him, so he's now locked into the chase. Levi McIntyre, we talked about how Levi was way down in points. That run that he gets today of 6th, that's going to help him be out of the conversation next week of as far as missing the chase. Right now, I believe the driver that is the one driver who could possibly miss the chase still is James Qualls. I believe now Levi McIntyre, Michael Norman, and Nathan Hudson are safe, especially since Hudson finished in 9th here today. James McLeod, we didn't talk about him all day. We only saw him at the very rear of the field during the cycle of going through the field in the running order. He's going to come away with 7th here today. 8th for Cody Lamas. And we already said Nathan Hudson in 9th, and Jacob Lawler completes the top 10 with a 10th place run here today. So, right now, the field as it looks that are confirmed in this season's chase for the championship. The points leader will be Trent Dunham. Sean Galligan right now stands to be 2nd. Also, Dylan Young, Sean Henley, John Cittadino, Cole Daly, Jessica Shelton, Dylan Poteet, Joshua Collard, even though he didn't have the best of runs today, he still is locked into chase now. Joshua Michaels, Makoto Iguchi, Jacob Lawler, Nathan Hudson, Levi McIntyre, and Michael Norman. They are all now locked into this season's chase for the championship. The one driver who is not yet locked in, it's all going to depend on next week at Arizona, is James Qualls. Qualls next week needs to have what happened this week happen next week. A former race winner go to victory lane for him to be able to make the chase for the championship. We finish off Watkins Glen still with only 16 different race winners this season. Qualls and that team, they need to hope next week they can either win the race or they can have a former winner win the race to be able to get themselves in the chase for the championship. Well, folks, this race from the Glen is over. Trent Dunham using the ultimate risk reward, and he is going to come away with the victory. As a matter of fact, basically most of the drivers that finished in the top 10 utilized that same kind of strategy. But Trent Dunham goes to victory lane for the third time this season. What a season he has been having. Hope you guys enjoyed today's race. If you did, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to become part of the crew today. Here comes your official full finish results, overall point standings, and rookie points heading into next week, as well as what the chase format looks like as far as who's made the chase right at the current moment heading into our regular season finale. We have Last of Us Light Series at Le Mans, we have Truck Series at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, and we have Mobile and Snickers Cup Series regular season races finales at Arizona next week. Hope you'll be tuning in for that. 3 chases are going to be determined next week, and we hope that you will be staying tuned for all that coming up here in the future. You've been watching production of NNSCRA, offline racing at its best. He made very quick work. Whoa, look out! Oh, what a save! Dougie Shears just got turned by the lap machine of Charles Sanford, but now he's got left side damage. But he still opens up his distance. He still keeps a distance between himself and second place McCurry. But all that ground he gained, he just lost right there. But what a save!